Hey, welcome back to Vox Terra. If you enjoy parsing apart movies for their unstated biases or what type of worldview they're promoting, and you enjoy sci-fi, then this is a good video for you. I'm going to take a look at a movie that popped up on my Netflix feed, and I gave the movie a shot, and that movie was called Prospect. Now, the biases that can appear in media, in my opinion, can either be intentional, because we can consider who are the funders or the producers of the movie, or it could simply be that the producers of the movie, the directors, the writers, grow up in our culture or the culture they grew up in. They have certain biases and influences from the media around them. So it's difficult for me to do this critique without spoiling the movie, but the spoils will get worse as our video goes along, but I'm not going to spoil the very ending. So to start off with, as I recall, the opening scene, we see a large rotating space station with individual capsules docked within that rotational unit. Now, I was impressed right there because that shows the directors had some knowledge of the concept of artificial gravity. Artificial gravity using centrifugal force. And that's a concept I've seen in books written as far back as possibly the 1950s. I've seen these books in the libraries when I was a young child in the early 80s or maybe the late 70s. It's kind of hazy now. These large rotating space stations, donut-like shaped space stations, that then create a centrifugal force and allow for longer-term human space habitation. Growing up, I became disappointed that these space stations have not been built. The drama starts off with a father and daughter team whose craft is docked in this space station. The dad appears short-tempered and to be a bit of a substance abuser to keep his stress levels down. He wants to embark on a risky planetary surface expedition with his daughter to collect a valuable substance, and here's where it's a bit of a spoiler if you just want to kind of roll with the movie, so maybe watch it first and then come back. A substance called Orlac, which looked to me like kind of a gem-like substance. When they arrived on the planet's surface, I thought it looked like it was filmed somewhere in the Pacific Northwest, maybe Olympic National Park. Only to make it more sci-fi-ish, they sort of overlaid these what looked like spores floating around. Now, as they're hunting for the Orlac, they're going through the woods of what's probably the Pacific Northwest. They're reminding me of some shows I've seen maybe on HGTV or some type of channel like that where they show how people earn a living maybe looking for ginseng or something like that here on Earth today, going out in the wilds, and the whole scene is kind of lawless. So here the father and daughter are transported into a kind of lawless setting in the woods looking for this substance, Orlac. Well, like most good sci-fi, it's somehow you're going to take current reality and sort of twist it and project it into the future. So question one here, the assumption one really, what it's laying out is that space settlement, really as I was a kid, they've always sort of laid out space settlement and talked about the resources available in the asteroid belt and kind of hyped up this commercial potential. But from my childhood to today, it hasn't happened. Commercial drive alone hasn't gotten us there. In fact, most what I can remember of the space race and the dawning of what was called the space age and going decades back really all stemmed out of competition with the Soviet Union. And once the Soviet Union collapsed, it looked at the capitalist nations, the United States, sort of dropped the ball. Because now capitalism no longer had to prove, hey, it can reach to the stars. Therefore, my conclusion that this concept of like taking, purely commercial interests and this is going to get humanity off the planet and increase our odds of long-term survival isn't really going to work that way. Any more than commercial interests alone are going to solve the climate crisis. It's commercial interests that got us into the climate crisis, and now it looks to me like commercial interests alone are not able to get us off the planet. What we need is for the public to see the need to focus on the long-term survival of our species and to clamor for climate action, clamor for a greener economy, and clamor for getting off the planet, or at least trying to. Now, the next part of the movie, the next part I'd like to critique would almost get us into how people claim the media has a so-called liberal social bias. I'll get to that. Look, so the father and daughter land on the planet, and kind of like one of these specials or these reality TV shows where people are out looking in the wilds, and they're in kind of running into other people out there looking in the wilds. It can get dangerous. The father and daughter run into some rogues. Well, it doesn't go well. This is a spoiler now. The father starts to become unscrupulous himself, and after narrowly escaping death at the hands of one of the rogues by negotiating a deal, then tries to turn about and now kill the rogue. Instead, the father figure gets killed, and eventually the daughter, left on her own, befriends one of the rogues. Now, I heard on Catholic radio they had criticized the show The Croods. The criticism was that they're claiming on Catholic radio that Disney generally promotes kind of an anti-dad theme in movies. The dad is sort of a buffoon or incompetent character, and the daughter instead should listen to this rogue. Well, here we see that same theme playing out now in sci-fi. So we've got the theme of capitalism, I think, and you can disagree with me, but the theme of capitalism is going to, that self-interest, that motivation for profit's going to get humanity off the planet. Well, it hasn't over my lifetime. I think we need government and the public sector to build at least an infrastructure. Then the other theme, again, we have the repeating theme of the dad as an untrustworthy character. So those are the two themes I saw in this, what I thought was quite good sci-fi movie. Let me know what you think. And until next time, I hope you subscribe to my channel. Click that notification bell so you know when I'm putting up a new video. Click like and comment. And until next time, normally I say peace be with you, but since this is sci-fi, why don't I instead say live long and prosper.